Okay, Chapter 7 review. So we're going to go through the different rules of multiplying, dividing, all those types of things for power to a power, and just changing exponents, flipping them around, and doing stuff like that. Okay, so our first rule, if we're multiplying things with the same base, remember we add their exponents. So this is going to be m to the 14. Okay, this one, we first check to make sure that all of our variables have an exponent. It looks like they do. So now we're going to distribute this -2 to everything. So this is going to be power to a power. So when we have power to a power like this, we have to multiply them. So we're going to get n, and then -3 times -2 is 6. And then q, 0 times -2 is 0. Okay, we got to make sure that there's no fractions that can be reduced, there's nothing to a 0 power, and there's no negative exponents. So q to the 0 is always 1, so my answer is just going to be n to the 6. Okay, so our rule for dividing things with the same base is we got to subtract their exponents. So if I take 6 minus 8, I should get n to be -2. But I can't have a negative exponent, so I need to drop it. So it's going to be 1 over n squared. This one, we just take 8 minus 6 and get n squared. We don't have to drop it or anything. Okay, here we're multiplying things with the same base. So we got to add their exponents. We got to add -6 and 4 to get -2. Can't have a negative exponent, so we need to drop the whole thing with it. So since the -2 is attached to my z, that means the z drops down with it. So my answer is going to be 1 over z squared. Because when we drop a negative exponent, it then becomes positive. Okay, so if we think about this one, it doesn't look like there's any like terms that we can combine. So anything to the 0 power is always 1. So that'll just go away. And then we got to drop our b because it's negative. So our answer is going to be a to the 4th over b to the 7th. Okay, this one, we got to see if we can combine our like terms. So let's take a look at this p here. It doesn't look like there's any other p, so he's just going to stay up there. To make it easier, what I would do is I would move my negative exponents around and then start simplifying. So I'm going to move this q down and this r up to make them positive exponents. So it's going to become r to the 6 on top and then q1 on bottom because we moved it down. Now we can combine these two q's. So then we're going to get, I'm going to write it over here, we're going to get p cubed r6 over, when we're multiplying things with the same base, we add their exponents, so 2 plus 1 is going to be 3, and there's nothing else that can be reduced. So that's my answer. Okay, so this one, it looks like there's multiple things that I could do. I could combine these m's in here first, or I could automatically distribute this -3 here. So I'm going to show you both ways, so you can choose which way you want. So if I'm combining my m's in the middle here, when I'm multiplying things with the same base, I add their exponents. So it would become 3 plus -1 would be 2. Okay, and then I would distribute this -3. So then we'd get m, so we multiply because it's power to a power, so 2 times -3 is -6. And -5 times -3 is going to be positive 15. Then we got to drop our m. So then my answer should be n to the 15 over m to the 6th. Okay, now I'm going to show you the other way to do it if you wanted to. So the other way would be distributing right off the bat, so distributing it to all these. So if I do the first one, it's going to be m multiply, so 3 times -3, which is -9. And -5 times -3 is 15. And -1 times -3 is just 3. Now we can combine our like terms here, so it's going to be m to the -6, n to the 15. Then we got to drop our m still. So you can do it either way, whichever way you like. I like reducing inside the parentheses first, and it makes it a whole lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to reduce inside my parentheses first. So I'm going to bring this x up top to make it positive, and this y down to make it positive. So on the top I'm going to have x cubed, x to the 4th. On the bottom is y5, y2. And I still have that negative 1 on the outside. So it looks like my y's, since we're multiplying things with the same base, we're going to add their exponents, and I'm doing the same with my x's. So I'm going to get x to the 7th on top and y to the 7th on bottom. Okay, now I got to distribute my negative 1 power to both of them, because it's both in my parentheses. So I'm going to get x to the negative 7 over y to the negative 7, which then I have to flip because they need to be positive. So there's my answer. Okay, I can't combine these u's yet because of this cubed out front, so I'm going to have to deal with that cubed first. So I'm going to distribute it, so I'm going to get u to the negative 5, v4, and then negative u to the 9th, because we multiply, because it's doing power to a power. Okay, now I can combine my u's. So I'm going to get negative, we're multiplying things with the same base, so we add their exponents, so negative 5 plus 9 is going to be 4, and negative 4 plus negative, or positive 4 plus negative 6 should give me negative 2. I have to drop my v. So there's my answer. And we can't forget about the negative that's sitting in here right here.